So hello, after yesterday's video and realising how long I have been procrastinating to show you how to pick up stitches on your sleeves, I thought I'd better get a move on. So what I do is I put the cardigan on and I put stitch markers along the sides to hold the sides together. And then I just put a couple of stitch markers where it feels comfortable under my arm. And I do have a tutorial, I think, showing how I put that on. So then I've got from the middle here, this is the front where the cable is, and this is the back. So from the middle, it's about 8 or 9 inches for me. For the armhole, 8 or 9 inches is about 20 centimetres, 22 centimetres. And I make sure it's equal on both from the shoulder here down the front and from the shoulder down the back. And I just have a stitch marker in each. And then the tutorial that I first learnt on, you don't have to pick up every stitch, but you can do. But I pick up 3 and miss 1. Pick up 3 and miss 1. And that way I try and get through. You just guess on how to get through this lumpy part here. And so where you've got your stitches down the edge, where I've got the stitch marker, that's where you'll go through. And when you look through here, you'll see that there's a little bar separating each stitch. Don't know if I can show you. There's a little bar there between each stitch. And so that's what you're going to go through. So you get your piece of yarn, you put your needle through, and I'll take the stitch marker out so it makes it a bit easier for me. You put your needle through and you get your yarn, just make a bit of a loop, put it across here, and the first one I hold both loops and I hold it quite tightly so that I can knit that yarn through that hole. It's just like knitting. So just that first one I hold both quite tightly. Then I just find that one piece and I'm just going to knit with that one. So I've been through that first stitch and then you can see a bit of a bar there. So I'll go into that next stitch, wrap my yarn around as if I'm knitting and just pull it through. It's just like if you're knitting. Just don't make it too tight, but don't make it too loose. And then I'll find that next bar and go into that next stitch. Go around as if I'm knitting, pulling it through. Now, if you have a big arm, you can pick up every stitch. If you have a smaller arm, but you like lots of space along here, you won't want every stitch, then you'll have to decrease a lot as you work along the arm, along the sleeve. So I miss one now, I've done 3. That's just how I learnt on my patchwork cardigan that I did. The lady Cozy Knits with a K for everything. Cozy with a K and knits with a K. That's how she picked up the stitches, and it might have been just because it was big thick yarn, but that's just how I've done it ever since. So I'm going to miss that next stitch, and you can use a little needle. So I find where the next stitch is, there's the loop and there's the next stitch, but I'll miss that one and I'll go into this one. So I'll just put my thumb there and I'll go into that one. You don't end up with holes. As you're knitting, you don't end up with any holes. Oh, and make sure the right side's facing you. Should have said that at the beginning. So I picked up that stitch. Just make sure it's loose enough for me to knit with. I'll go into the next one. And you'll just do that all the way along. All the way along. You'll work your way through this part and you'll go all the way down to here. And then you'll get your needle, and then when you turn it, you'll just purl, and so you'll knit and purl and stocking stitch just as normal, and it'll go along flat as a sleeve. And you can put a cable down the middle of it, which I'd like to do. You can make it short with just ribbing to make a vest. You can make a whole different sleeve and make it just all knit rows as in garter stitch, which will make the whole sleeve look different, which would look really nice. So you can do whatever you like. There's no rules, but this is how I do them in flat. Now, if you're used to using those needles where you can work in the round, it's easier because you'll just work in the round, join it together, and then there's no seam along the bottom later when you join it up. Now, as I'm knitting along my sleeves, every so often I will decrease about every 5th or 6th row, maybe every 8th row. It's guesswork. I have no pattern, so I guess. And every so often I'll put the whole sleeve onto waste yarn, and then I can try it on by using stitch markers along where the bottom seam will be sewn, and I try it on and I see if it's too tight or too baggy, and I can readjust things. So that's how you pick up your stitches. I do 3 and miss 1, and then I'll just keep working my way along here. And so as I work along, I will show you how I'm getting along. So that's just the easy way of picking up stitches. I hope that makes sense. Bye. Okay, so I thought I'd add a bit more explanation. So here is my cardigan. I have gone back to the blue and green one because I realise I don't have enough pink yarn to do sleeves on the pink one. And it came from Denmark, so I'm not sure what I'll do. Maybe make it a vest. That's why I've been procrastinating. So this is the cardigan laid out. This is the back. The other front's underneath here. And I took out the stitch markers that I had down the side to try it on this side so I could lay it flat. So here's the front and here's the back. And here's where I started picking up, and I worked my way along to the next stitch marker. When I went through this bulky shoulder a little bit, I ended up picking up 6 in a row, because when I picked up 3 and then went to miss 1, it was going to be right on this bulky bit. And I thought, I don't want to miss 1, so I've actually picked up 6 in a row, and then I went along. So I'm not quite sure yet. I'd like to have a cable going down the top of the cardigan. That would look nice. But then I thought garter stitch would look different too. So I'm going to give it a bit of a think. But that's what it looks like when you're doing it flat, and then I'll have to sew a seam underneath. So now I'll just get my other needle and I'll purl this side, and then as I come back to knit, when I get to, I think, what was I, every 6th row I was twisting for the cable. So I might do every 8th row decrease, so it's not on the twisting cable row. Don't know why. I just make up my own rules as I go along. So you can see that I'm just having a bit of fun, and I hope this makes sense to you. If you have any questions, let me know. So I'm just doing my best to try and explain the simple little ways that I do things. There will be professionals who are absolutely horrified with what I'm doing. But look, once I'm wearing the cardigans, nobody notices it's not perfect. In fact, I've only ever had positive comments when I've been out at the shops in the city. I was in Spotlight and people were coming up, and one lady that worked there says, I've seen you before in your cardigan. That's the other one I've finished. And she goes, I recognise your cardigan, it's so pretty. And I thought, I'll have to stop wearing my cardigans in public. I'm getting recognised. So yeah, You can sort of tell the green. I'm a bit disappointed you can't really see the green against the blue. So it's going to be pretty weird. So I do have a few ideas about changing colours and things. It's going to look a bit like a ginger snap cardigan that they make for kids that I'll have for myself. So that's what you'll end up looking like. I hope that makes sense. Okay, bye.